Good afternoon, students. Today we have a very legendary figure with us, Dr. Benny Kuriokose. He is not an architect basically, but he knows our college. He has been there. He's come there for Zonasa in 2019. And he also knows our director, Baby Paul sir, and principal Suja ma'am. So he's one of the most prominent figures when it comes to conservation and heritage. And although not from the architectural background, he has more knowledge than I think an architect would know about these fields. So I think you can use the best of this time. If you have any thing to clear with sir, you can feel free to ask anything. Please go ahead.
It was 1984 when the Madras Craft Foundation was formed, which runs, it's a trust which runs Dakshinachitra. Dakshinachitra is one of the projects of Madras Craft Foundation. So I got in touch with Dakshinachitra in 1984, that is 39 years ago. I took over the project in 1995. 95 onwards, all the buildings which has come up, so all these buildings are done by me or designed by me. We are still doing buildings. We just finished one Muslim house. I mean, you can see it is not converted into a museum. Is the Muslim house open to public? No. It will be open. Huh? Yet to open that building. We are just going to start a Coorg house from Coorg. We are just dismantled and kept here. I mean, when it will start any time. I mean, this were drawings and everything has been issued. There is some confusion regarding levels, so that is why that is being sorted out, and that's how it is done. So I've been involved with this thing. So I mean, this is the project which you are doing for the last 27 years, 28 years, 95 I took over this project. 28 years I'm still doing the project, which is a very rare thing to happen. I mean, it's one of the projects which is very dear to my heart. It's one of the where I still get involved in this project, which is I learned tremendously from this project. So that's how it is. So I'm not prepared, so I hope you will ask questions.
My name is Lidya John. I just generally wanted to know, you talked about like spending decades worth of effort on this one huge project, and I think is like really young architects who have just started our work. How would you what advice would you give us to kind of find a community or a group of people where we can actually build up on an idea and then actually have it last, and then be able to spend so much dedicated time and then have it grow into something? As like young architects who have no idea how to make connections or like how to actually get together with people like that.
Okay. See, one thing is which is very important is to learn from the past. I mean, what I am today is because I looked into the past. We have a very good, beautiful architecture. Every part, every region has got it. So you have to learn from that. And it has been created by non-architects. I mean, the people who created these buildings didn't have a degree in architecture. They created these buildings. And so one important thing is to learn from the past, which is very, very important. I mean, you are being taught in college, but I always believed that architecture is a creative profession. Unless, if there are difficult things to be taught, creativity is difficult to be taught. Can be taught about other things, Creativity is very difficult to be taught, and you have to be creative, you have to be innovative if you want to be successful in architecture as a career. So you have to be different from what others are doing, and you should have a knowledge of technology also. You should know about techniques or materials. Reasonable knowledge you should have. And you should look at the works of the great masters of architecture. I was lucky enough to work with Laurie Baker, which is the foundation of my architectural career. And it is something which you develop over the years. You already started the process, and you have to, it's an inquiry, or you have to learn and more about, find out what is good architecture. I always say there is only good architecture and bad architecture. How will you do good architecture without knowing what is good? So it's very difficult to teach. If I ask you what is good architecture, it is very difficult to define. That is something which you should get into your mind, get into your blood, what is good architecture. So I am doing what I think is good. Somehow people like it, or so look with open eyes, try to pick up knowledge, try to learn maximum things, try to learn from outside the textbooks. Your teachers only can guide you, because it's physics, science, chemistry, etc. is different. You can learn textbooks, you can study yourself, but this is something which is slightly different, the way you study things. And you have to question what it is, what is there. You have to do it according to the latest trend or latest. You have to do justice to the environment. So all these things matters when it comes to those things. One of the things I find in many young architects, a lot of young architects work with me or work with me, one of the things is that this is a creative field, and creativity is the most important aspect. Don't think it is a business. Don't think it is if you have contacts you will be able to get projects. No. If you want to sustain an architecture, you have to do good quality work. So we have to, and it doesn't start when you pass out and start an office of your own. It starts in the first year itself. And nothing comes free. Everything comes with a cost. So I have reached this stage, I have spent some amount of time and effort on this. Somebody else has done that, they have spent an effort on that. Somebody didn't become successful also, they didn't make an effort. So you have to see that people have to spend time, effort, all those things in this. The teacher's role is mainly to show that these are the possible ways of development, these are the possible ways of learning. That is what you will be able to pick up in the long term kind of thing. So your learning starts now, already started. I don't know whether I'm talking way above head or anything, I don't know. So, but you can ask questions. Feel free to ask questions. You have to think about the environment. You have to have a social responsibility, and architecture is for the people. It's not for you to enjoy. It is for the people who uses the buildings. So if you think about that, then the kind of architecture you do will be different. So you have to look at the past and learn. And I'm not saying modern science is wrong or bad or anything. You have to look at what we did in the main entrance building, the brief which was given. It should be a modern building, but it should have a traditional feel to it. That was the design brief which was given to me. So the main entrance building which I designed, and so it shows, it doesn't have the grandeur feeling of a museum building, and it sets in with the tone of the Dakshinachitra, which is more vernacular, built by the people, for the people kind of architecture. But at the same time, we have taken huge crowds of people. We have a good number of visitors to this place. Now it is summer, it's slightly less. But tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday is the peak time, peak number of visitors. But slowly you will see more visitors coming, and I'm happy that the people enjoy coming to this building. And one of the questions which I asked in the interview in my office, can you tell me a building in Chennai city which has been built during the last 25 years? People are highly confused. They don't have an answer. This is the case with most of the cities. You are from Trivandrum. Can you tell me a building which is more than built during the last 25 years in Trivandrum? I grew up in Trivandrum. Can you specify a building? Does any building comes to your mind? Which building comes to your mind? Can you tell? Just tell. Which you would like a friend to be taken and show, this is a building in my city. Huh? Which one? Indian Coffee House. Indian Coffee House, yeah, Tambanur, done by Laurie Baker. Any other building? In Trivandrum city, you are at least, those who, how many of you are from Trivandrum district? Some of you might be in the hostels. Yeah, at least some people are from Trivandrum city. So just tell. Indian Coffee House, any other building? Palpanabha Swami Temple, 25 years. I said 25 years. Built during the last 25 years. Which one? No, I don't think the British Library is no longer existing in Trivandrum. It was there earlier. It is an old colonial building. It is not more than 25 years old, that building. I used to borrow books from that when I was in school. Now the library is not there. You mean one next to the Trivandrum Secretariat? That is a public library, might be. That is an old building, more than 100 years old. Yeah, a little bit they have added, yeah. But that adding itself is done more than 40 years ago. It's not done during the last 25 years. Which building comes to your mind? Huh? University? I don't know. I don't know the building. Yeah. Infosys. Yeah. Which are the other buildings? But will you take a friend to show UST Global? Will you take a friend of yours? No, I would like to show UST Global. I'll show the building, we'll show the building around. Or how many people visit Infosys building? Or how many people visit UST Global Building? Why? So many architects are there. Why is the creativity of the architects not being shown in the buildings? Huh? Pardon? No. You see, can you name, is there anything comes to your mind when a building is there? Even Indian coffee house is more than 25 years old. Which hotel? Where? In? No, which place? Now, where approximate location you can tell? Where in the city? You tell the name of the hotel. No, it's about the only thing is that mainly Hyatt Regency. Where is it? I don't know. Oh, people can say Lulu Mall. But do you go there for architecture? Or go there for something else? Now that is where the trouble. You see, the name is not coming clear. How we can count the number of buildings with one finger. A city where so many architects are practicing, so many buildings are likely to come up, so many buildings are coming up. The Trivandrum city is not the city which I saw when I grew up in the city. It's not that same city. It has changed drastically. I still come. I'm there this week. I'm there. So the city has changed drastically. But still we are not able to make out something or any of these things. We are not able to tell. I mean, you being architect, if you ask somebody else, and it should be a place where you would like to tell. I mean, if you take some buildings, other examples, Lotus Temple in Delhi, or many of the buildings which you say, the people, I mean, if it's Lotus Temple is again more than 25 years old, but this is a new building where people go religiously to Akshardhan Temple. People go there religiously to see. Not only because of the temple, they go to the temple to see the building. There are some buildings which has come up which people like. People go there. But this is unfortunately absent in this one. In the modern, in the present context, we are not able to tell. That is which doesn't come to my mind, come to your mind also, very clearly. There is something missing somewhere. See, if it is a good architecture, whether it is 20 years old, 200 years old, 2000 years old, you will still like it. That is the character of good architecture. One character of good architecture. It doesn't fade out with time. You understand that? Lulu Mall, 10 years down the line, will become obsolete. What happened to Oberon Mall in Kochi? The Spencer Plaza, Spencer Mall in Chennai city. Nobody goes there. The shops there doesn't have any. They are trying to sell, they don't even get the land value. When Lulu Mall has come, all of the there is not much of it. The Travancore Mall will not have anybody. 10 years, the building becoming obsolete. I don't know about the crowd in Travancore Mall, but I think they would have gone to Lulu Mall. This is what happens. Something comes better than Lulu Mall, people will show. If the architecture is good, people will come. If there is a beautiful architectural piece in any of the cities, people will still go there, see it, enjoy it, and that becomes very, very important. And that is the character of one of the good architecture. Doesn't see whether it's old or good. What is important is good architecture. You will enjoy going there 20. I will say there are people who have come to this place 25 times, 50 times, still they enjoy. There are people regularly come here at a regular interval. They come, I don't know, let us go to Dakshinachitra. See Dakshinachitra. They have seen it many times, but they will come. There are not many places like this where people would like to go there again and again. And when they come, the one character of a good architecture, when they come, why people are coming 25th time is because when the 25th time, they will see a different architecture in this place. What they have never seen the last 24 times. That is what architecture is. Architecture is for experiencing, not for putting into photographs or coming in magazines. Because I know so many people who have come here who says, we love this place, we take all the visitors to this place, or any of those things. When we started this, there were no visitors. There were days when there was not even a single visitor to this place. But now we have a huge turnover. An average of 3,000 people visit this place on a day. I don't know the corona figures, but still, 2,000 people will be visiting, average, isn't it? 2,000, 3,000 people visit this place on a day. So which is very important. People are coming to see. So there is a difference which is coming there. And I don't think people will get tired of this place, not because I have done this, but they come. You can just try to ask some staff or some of the visitors, you can casually ask, why do you come here? They will tell which is there. This place. When Vajpayee was Prime Minister, he came here, visited this place. He went back, they stay in Raj Bhavan. So he went and asked the governor at that time, have you seen Dakshinachitra? Governor said, I have not seen Dakshinachitra. Governor just made a visit within a week to see this place. We didn't invite the governor. Governor just came to see this place. So, architecture is for experience. Architecture is not 2D, architecture is 3D. That you see, it is three-dimensional, which is very, very important. You are drawing section and plan and everything in 2D, but it's 3D. When it is built, it becomes more, there are more dimensions to it, which is very, very important.
Sir, I have a basic question that how you want to build a conservative and sustainable building in this era. Any criteria or any basic advices to us?
It's very difficult to, it's a good question, but difficult to answer because it will take a long time. What I will suggest will be, I have a YouTube channel, which there are some videos. So I will suggest that you see it to understand what is sustainable. I given a TED talk very recently. It is in YouTube. So TED talk also will talk about sustainability, the way I understand it. There are some blog articles which I have done. That is also there. I'm just for you to do. It's very difficult because you will something which takes a long time to explain. But generally I will tell is that I do a lot of conservation projects. A lot of buildings are being refurbished or anything, which is 50% of our practice. We do. What we do in that, we are recycling the whole building. One of the basic principles of sustainability, reuse, recycle, etc. What we are doing, we are reusing the whole building, we are recycling the whole building. If you look at this building, that building, all the doors and windows are recycled doors and windows. You are staying in the, I don't know which one, guest house or quarters. All doors and windows are recycled. So these columns are recycled. So there are a lot of materials which are recycled, but it is more sustainable when the whole building is recycled. So that is one very, very important aspect of conservation and why we do conservation. The second thing, what we do is that, I don't know how many of you know the kind of projects we do. Have you studied or known or anything? Yeah. How many of us went to our website? Nobody has gone to our website. Anybody gone? You have gone to our website. So you will see the kind of projects that we do. It has a strong roots in vernacular architectural traditions because they are more thermally comfortable. Concrete buildings are very hot. Air conditioning is going to be an expensive affair in the future. These buildings we try to cool in a natural way with minimum kind of things. These buildings are not very hot compared with many of the modern concrete buildings. People say our buildings are very cooler. So what we do, we use certain principles or learnings from our own architecture and apply it in modern context. That is what we do in our practice. And basically we use the traditions. We have a very different way of doing architecture, new buildings, which I think is what would have brought us into what we are doing now, or what our firm stands for. I run a consultancy firm. So what our consultancy firm, or what we do, it is slightly very different from the typical kind of concrete buildings. Of course we use concrete. It's quite different from what, because we use concrete in a way which makes it thermally comfortable. This building, what you see here, is inaugurated in '96, the main building. It looks exactly the same it was 26 years ago, 27 years ago. No coating, no protective coating given. No, not this building, the main building. All these buildings came. That building came first, then that was added, then that was added, this was added last. So it happened over a long stages of construction. All these buildings came. And just like we are adding buildings, every year we add one. Corona delayed the process, otherwise every year we add one or two buildings. So the buildings you see might be a smaller building, might be a bigger building. So the main building came more than 26 years ago. If you look at it, looks like the way it was done 26 years ago. You look at some of the buildings done 26 years ago, they have huge maintenance problems. They look out of fashion. So many buildings are being demolished which are 25 years old. So this is where you have to think about what architecture you should be using, what kind of details, how you should be doing. So all these things matters quite a bit. So we believe in certain values. We believe in sustainability. So our projects also reflect sustainability very clearly. We believe in recycling buildings. So we do a lot of conservation projects. So this is the way we do things. And of course, I'm being influenced by Laurie Baker, especially since I don't have a degree in architecture, or I didn't study architecture formally. I learned from Laurie Baker, but I did not follow Laurie Baker blindly. I took what I thought is right, but I tried to take it, develop it, or adapt it differently. I won't say what I'm doing is correct, time will tell. Or I will say that many of the things which I've done, deviating from Laurie Baker's typical kind of buildings, time has proved that what I've done is correct. So I did not try to blindly follow Laurie Baker. That's what I tried to do. Whereas I don't have any problem. There are people who follow Laurie Baker very strictly. Cosford is doing it. A lot of other architects are doing it. No complaints. What they are doing is their beliefs and what they do. We are doing what we think is correct. You understand that? So all these things are very much a part of our value system, or what we believe in. So our architecture is also very different. That's what makes us stand out.
Sir, I think as a person coming from non-architectural background, what fascinated you towards architecture, if you could just say? Maybe these young architects will be driven towards that.
The thing is that I studied civil engineering. I studied in CET, the college which he studied. And my interest was to do photography. I wanted to become a photographer. After plus two, you were 1 year younger to you, I wanted to join Pune Film Institute. At that time, plus two students were allowed to join Pune Film Institute. When I wanted to apply, my father was a little bit, we had to think we are old generation. Father said that a film field is very tricky, very difficult. You don't know whether you will be successful, and you are going after plus two. You take a degree and do Film Institute or whatever you want to do. I will not object. You can do. You have the freedom to do whatever you want to do. So, which I thought, I grew up we three of us grew together. My mother died when I was 11 years old. So till my brother got married, 5 years older than me, my father and me lived together. So childhood is very different. In Trivandrum city, we three lived together. We used to cook. They used to cook. I knew minimum cooking because I was 11 years, they allowed me. But I learned a little bit cooking. That's how we lived. So we have a different kind of attachment. And he said, I would like you to do. If you do a degree and do, he didn't say what degree you want to do a degree and go, then it's not problem. I was a very, very good academically, very strong. So I used to get very high marks. There is no doubt. One of the top, 10th standard, etc. People thought I will get the rank, one of the ranks or thing. There were people who thought that I will get. I was either the topper in school or the second in model school, which is a Trivandrum school, like that, where a lot of students used to study. So I asked one of my cousins and asked him, what is the difference between architecture and civil engineering? I did not know at that time. He said, architects deals with the aesthetics of buildings, civil engineers deals with the strength of buildings or technical aspects of buildings. This is the answer, who is one of my cousin, who is a professor of civil engineering at that time. He said, what he said is correct. Architects deal with the aesthetics, civil engineers deal with the technical aspects. I tried to compare it with photography. Photography, nobody can teach what composition you should make, what angle you should take the photograph. It's a creative process. But somebody can teach you how to do lighting. If you put 3 lights in 3 different angles, how the lights will come, what is the focal length, aperture. Now automatic, everything works in an automatic way. But there was a time when it's not like that. I used to have a black and white enlarger at home. I had cameras at home. So I used to do photography. Even while I was a student, my photographs come in national magazines, cover page of some of the magazines, etc. I was doing a freelance photography at that time. So I took civil engineering. By fourth semester, I would have been university first rank or second rank holder. Fifth semester, I decided that this is not my field. So, fifth semester, there is a paper on architecture and town planning, which is architecture and town planning, which Rengwala's town planning is one book. Architecture part, there is nothing. Architecture and town planning, you just have this. It's a very, very difficult. There is no prescribed textbook or anything. And that's in the fifth semester. Fifth semester, I became a dropout. I got very low attendance. I had to apply for condonation in the university to write the exam. And architecture paper, I got 10 marks out of 50, internal assessment, which was not justified. Because a person who was in my class, who never passed out, got 41. So 10, next mark is 41. Then 45, 46, 48, 49, everybody. It was a vindictive thing by one of the teachers. You might not believe it. It is the internal assessment which has been, I was targeted. 10 marks I will get. Which means that if I want to take a degree, I have to get 65 out of 100 to pass out that exam, pass that exam. Next semester, because teachers, it's very clear. There was a lot of incidents has happened. There was a strike in the college and all those things. Next semester, sixth semester, the results come only at the, final results come only at the end of the semester. It was worse. Now the situation is better. So when fifth semester end, I got 10 out of 50, which I realized 65 I have to get, which I thought I will not get. Because that was like a dropout year for me. I went to Calcutta to see the film also and went for movies. I was not attending classes. But 10 is unjustified to get. And sixth semester, what I did is that I had to get past that exam. It's very rare to get 65 out of 100 in that paper, which is a descriptive paper. So I started reading about architecture in my sixth semester. Took books from the library, I'll come. I had studied only architecture for the first 3-4 months. So when structural engineer teacher will be teaching structural engineering there, I'll be opening and reading an architecture book. Because structural engineering, I know I can pass. I don't need much time to study structural engineering. And this is what I did. Finally, when the results came, I got 55 out of 100 in that paper. There was a loophole that if you pass all the papers, then you need not get 50% out. You can get 40% out. If I had failed in any of the papers, then I would have failed architecture too. Since I passed all the papers, 55 plus 10, 65 was enough to pass. There was a loophole in that exam rule at that time. So if you look at, I wrote 55 papers in my civil engineering degree. The least marks I got was for architecture and town planning. Now it's very contradiction that I do projects of all scales at this thing. When the results came, I realized that I passed, then I lost interest in architecture. Completely lost interest in architecture. And I was considered as a rebel in the college. I used to talk to your director knows well. I used to go and talk to him because he is in the architecture, and talk to him how this system is not correct, this system is not correct. Although we were from two different departments. He will know. He knew me as a student in the engineering college. He was a young faculty at that time. Very young faculty at that time. And this is what has happened. And finally, there is a project which has to be done. Civil engineers, normally 4 or 5 students do a pre-stressed design of a multi-storied building or some kind of a bridge to be done. This is the kind of project which I was not interested in any of those projects. So I just wanted to take a biogas plant which will convert the kitchen waste and the toilet waste into gas. Primary interest is the treatment of the waste. So I took that project. I approached one of the professors and 2 professors. All of them refused to guide me. This topic we don't want to guide. Finally, I approached one professor, M.M. Thomas, who was in charge of the National Buildings Organization. And there was a National Buildings Organization cell in the college. He was in charge. I asked him, can you guide me? Because when I was in the first year, he taught me history of science and technology. I was brilliant. So he said, you will become an IAS officer. That was his dream. And I went for strike, and when I was going around in strike in the college, he called me and told me, why are you doing this? I said, I believe in these things, so I am on a strike. So this is my answer. So he said, no, you have a career. You should become an IAS officer. So I said, no, I dropped it out. Anyway, what has happened? So I approached him. He said he will do it. And there was another student in mechanical engineering department who was also having a similar problem. We decided we will do. So I will do the waste part. He will do the energy studies, how much gas is coming out of it. His guide was Professor R.V.G. Menon, who is quite famous now. He was a professor in the mechanical engineering department. So Sanal did that project. I did it. And Sanal is now a professor of philosophy in IIT Delhi. He went completely out of mechanical engineering. He became a journalist in Indian Express, and he studied philosophy and is a professor in IIT Delhi. B. Sanal. So we were the 2 projects who did it. So in my thesis, I acknowledged him. In his thesis, he acknowledged me because it was a combination thing. And our design won the 3rd prize in a biogas competition. At that time, the prize money was 10,000 rupees, 1984. Because this idea of converting the kitchen waste and the toilet waste into this thing was never heard this 39 years ago. But there was a Ministry of Non-Conventional Energy Resources did this. Now I am telling about the biogas plant. We wanted to study how the biogas plants in Trivandrum city works. So I went to study, went to Khadi and Village Industries Commission, got the addresses. I was inspecting one biogas plant surveying one biogas plant in Vattiurkavu. I went to that. Next door, Baker was at one of his construction sites. I just walked up to him and told him about my biogas and things. 1984, Baker was not very famous like the way. I was the 4th person to work with him. He's 67 when I joined him. Because everybody used to say he's a quack, what he says will not last, his buildings will fall down. This was the kind of things people used to tell at those things, including engineers and architects. So I just started. Remember still the days, there was no chair or anything. I leaned against one coconut tree, he leaned against another coconut tree. The dialogue went for 1.5 hours, talking about various things. And at the end of the thing, I just felt like, can I come and work with you? Because I don't know, I had to go to the Film Institute. That was my goal. But it will take 3-4 months for that to happen. So I just asked him, can I come and work with you for 2-3 months? Because I know what he's doing. I know this establishment is against him. So I told him, he said, I will not be able to pay you. If I want to pay you, I will have to charge it to my clients. I do these very low-cost buildings, so I will not be able to pay. I said, I'm not bothered about the payment. For me, it is just getting the 2-3 months spending a time with a person of conviction, somebody who did what he believed in. That was more important. So I went. As soon as my theory exams were over, next day I joined. I went to I called him. He said, come to the site. I went to that site. And that's how my interest in architecture came. It is like learning from him. I worked only under Laurie Baker. Never worked under anybody. Never collaborated with anybody else also. I learned from him. I used to ask him questions. He used to teach me. Not like a class, but he will explain to me. And after 9 months, February, I decided to leave. Because he was paying me Saturday, he will come and make the payments to the masons. He will write this much number, Janardhanan, 45 rupees. He was the head mason, 45 rupees. And then below that, Benny, 40 rupees. Like that, he will put the payment. So I used to get a slightly lesser than, great for me, Laurie Baker to do it. So I got about 200 rupees a week, which is, now if you look back, many of the architects do not get the payment, even that of the mason. Masons get better paid than architects. At that time, that's how he used to do it. So 9 months I learned with him, but our interaction didn't go. I still staying in the same city. So I used to interact with him. When I left Baker, I did not think that I would be able to do even a 250 square feet house. I came out in 1985, February. A lot of people ask me, can you do a Baker house? Can you do a house? Because apart from Baker, nobody was there to do Baker houses. There was no Cosford. There was no Habitat. There was nothing. Nobody practicing Laurie Baker style of architecture. So I worked with him. People asked me, can you do it? And I said, I will do it. So I started taking up projects. I never had to look back in my life. So I did not know, I never used there were not the computer days, rotring pen. I never used a pen. I used to buy a 10 rupee micro tip pilot pen and draw on a graph sheet. I don't know how to draft, but I will draw. I used to draw on a graph sheet. All the early building plans which I did until about 89, 90 or 91, 1991 were drawn on graph sheets or butter sheets sometimes, because I did not know. Because butter sheet is difficult to draw. Graph sheet is very easy to draw. And I used to give it to the site also, the graph sheets. Photocopies were not very common. So I did a lot of projects at that time. A lot of people asked me. I was the Cosford, I was the joint director, first staff to join Cosford. I did their earlier buildings. So 91, Mammootty asked me to do his house. Chennai house is done by us. We are now renovating the house. After 30 years, we are now, people are working. Yesterday I was at the Mammootty's house, renovating the house. After 91, I will say, I never had to. Then I became a very, very different kind of figure, things. And so it's with hard work, learning, doing it. It's very, very difficult for a non-architect to practice successfully as an architect. Because you don't have a degree. It's very difficult for people to accept you. Because it is, everybody knows that I don't have a degree. You also would have known it, or you knew it.
I knew because of Baby Sir and...
Baby Sir. So you knew it, and now I'm called as a jury member, Delhi School of Planning Architecture. I lecture everywhere. I'm a visiting faculty with email IDs and everything in CEPT, Ahmedabad. I'm in Anand National University. I lecture abroad. So all these things have changed. I never had to look back. That's why it's. I will say it's very hard work. Definitely, it is nothing to do with marketing. We work quietly, but we have projects. We don't have shortage of projects. Now in the office, we'll be doing 60, 70 projects at a time, which is quite big. I told the team that we'll have to, next year we should be doing 100 projects. We are on an expansion free now. We are in the process of expansion. Now we do projects in Gujarat. We finished one project. I think today's Instagram posting might be the Gujarat, or we have just started. We have done a project in Ahmedabad, Delhi. We are doing projects in Assam, Madhya Pradesh, all southern South Indian, Telangana, everywhere. We are doing projects. Maharashtra, we are doing 4 projects. Orissa, we are doing 2 projects. So the office has grown. And we are doing smaller projects of 125 square feet to master plans. I don't have any qualifications. We are doing master plans, huge campuses we do. So that there is no shortage. We are doing Vikram's house now, Punyam Selvan, Vikram's house now, and we just finished Shobana's house. So like that we do. So many. All kinds of people, industrialists, the top IAS officers, politicians, or anybody. We do their projects because we have created a market of our own, which is very difficult for. I always tell my team, we don't have to compete with anybody. My teammates, we don't have to compete with anybody. But it is very, very. It's after a long-term career. We have reached the stage. Sometimes I'll say I've been able to do some once-in-a-lifetime project. Dakshinachitra, you will never get 2 projects of this in your lifetime. This is one. To do a house for Mammootty when I was 30 years old Mammootty was a superstar at that time. The mega star at that time. He was the number 1 in that time also, 92 also. So to get and do, So I might think that I might be lucky, but it's not the luck alone. It's the hard work you put in to reach that stage. Mammootty always used to reach to the top is easy. To stick to the top is very, very difficult. So he's 30 years is number one in Malayalam industry, cinema industry, which is very, very difficult. He used to tell me, when he reach the top is easy, stick to the top is very difficult. So you can go down the curve, which is very easy. So what I'm trying to do is to keep up the curve very clearly. I tell my office, I don't want my curve to go down. My curve should always go up. So we just work on that as a teamwork. Our office works as a teamwork. Very interesting projects we are able to do. So I've been very lucky to get this once in a lifetime project. So many projects I've done, which is there. So as you said, I mean, it's when I joined Laurie Baker, I never thought I will reach this stage or anything. But now when I look back, I mean, look pretty in terms of the projects or the kind of projects we do, or that I'm in member of various committees, various advisory groups and everything. And everybody knows very clearly. So people accept like that. It's I mean, in this place, I can come in at any time, and it's like my son's wedding reception was held here and that open area. So so this place is very dear to me. I hope that till my death I'll be continuing doing architecture here. This is doing the projects here. So let's see. I mean, it's. They also don't think twice. So we're still doing the projects in this place. So it's work, do quality work, do innovative work. Then people will come in search of you. We don't go and search for projects with anybody. We don't do any marketing, but still we get projects. We are not even able to take 10% of the projects which comes to us. We get a lot of inquiries. We are able to deal only with very little number of projects. We don't have a system, which is there. That's how we work. It's a very, very challenging profession, interesting profession. I still enjoy what I'm doing because each project is different. We try to make, none of our house looks the same. Each of our project is, we don't have a style. Each of our project is very different, and that's what we do. Our clients are very, very satisfied. We have done for the father and the son many combinations. The father will come to us, the son will also come to us. Mammootty, when he did the renovation after 30 years, he's come to me. Come to me kind of thing. We have done so many projects for Mammootty. 2 years ago, we finished an office complex here for him, which we did, and it's mainly the relationship with the clients is very, very important. Vikram's house we are doing is Vikram's second project we are doing. So many people would say that when it comes to projects, they don't think about any other name. They said, people are told that, we will come to you. People said 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, we'll come to you. Let us make, even in our Instagram, I don't know how many, have any of you seen our Instagram post? No. How many can you raise the hands? How many have seen our Instagram post? Nobody has seen. We have one of the largest following. We have more than 120,000 followers in our Instagram post. And people message in the Instagram saying that, let me make money. We are not cheap. We are very expensive. So people write, let's make the money and then we will come to you for a future projects. Because we can't do, because there are certain things which we do. like that. Yeah, we are a little bit expensive. We don't go with the Council of Architecture rates, we go charge higher than that. But here, one of the main problem is the Council of Architecture rates, many people underquote, we overquote the Council of Architecture fees. Because what can you do when so many people want to build? You have to limit the number, so this is what. So it's not a money making, what you have to understand as youngsters, only 5% of the architects make money. 95% of the people try to make money and fail in it. Only 5% of the architects become successful in practice, 95% fail in that. But there is I will say there is a formula by which you can be in that 5%. It's you who decide whether you want to be in the 5% or not. It is the decisions you make which you put you into the 95% category. So that's what is very, very important. It's a long story. I mean, I learned from all my clients, working with the clients. So, we have a good teamwork in my office, which is there. And I'm handing over the office to the next generation. I mean, some of the staff in my office changed my name of the office and everything. So in the future, more youngsters in my office will be. I'm not able to think as fast as the youngsters with the IT and all this. I do all these things coming, but it will be handed over to the younger generation in my office. That's what I'm planning to do, slowly.
You said you want more youngsters to join you. I mean, you are giving them more importance. So what kind of people are you looking for?
It's a bit difficult to tell. You see, the problem, I mean, I'll tell you, this is something which we discuss amongst all my friends who are running similar firms. This is the first things. One is that we are very clear that we want people with a learning attitude. At the same time, we want people who are willing to contribute to the office. This project or many other projects, what I have done is not done by me. It is done by my team. So I need team which will support me in my designs or activities. So we need people, we want to have people who are creative, innovative. That is what we do. But youngsters, when they come, that will be very, very, very difficult. So the attitude of the person is very important. Somebody will be very talented. We initially recruited people with very high talent and brilliance. 2 days ago, I don't do the interview. One of my staff does the interview. So we just rejected, that person who does the interview came and told me that this person is from IIT Kharagpur, but I think we should not take him because of these three reasons. I said yes. So we are not looking at talent. We are looking at the right attitude. Skills is something which we can teach very easily. If you are not good at 3D, we can teach you 3D in 1 week. We are not good at presentations, we can teach you presentations in 1 week. We need the right attitude in the person, willing to learn, willing to contribute, having the right attitude. That is something which it's not money. We pay the highest. Priya 2022 batch gets 30,000 rupees. She is the one who is there. Last year's batch, she get 30,000 rupees and she is getting, last year bonus was 5 months salary. This year's bonus announced is 6 months salary. So she will be drawing 45,000 rupees salary this year. So it depends on the performance and this thing. But I don't have a problem. I tell Priya this has to be done. Tomorrow is the deadline. She will get it done. I don't have to say, Priya, how much have you done? Nothing. It has been done. You understand that? There is no questions asked or any of those things. So this is where it comes. So we are looking at people who are very willing to learn, pick up the attitude, how much they pick up. And we don't want selfish people. We want people who are willing to contribute to the office. One of the things in our interview, we take anybody coming, one of our staff will take them out for lunch to know how that person is there. And if that person says this person is not good to work with, we just throw that out. Third level only I do the interview. First, second is done by the office people. And this time we are announced, we used to get a lot of mails. We want to learn from you. We want to learn vernacular architecture. We want to learn sustainable. We get all these kinds of mails. And one mail we don't reply. The second mail will come. I'm writing this mail in the middle of the night because I cannot sleep because I want to work with you. Like that, mails will come. So all of this time we have announced a 1.5 months internship, but we will not pay. So in that applications, if we have set a statement of purposes, somebody has sent the portfolio and the biodata, we just reject. We have asked for a statement of purpose. You have to sit down and write a statement of purpose, why they want to work within our office. The person who wants to apply to office doesn't want to take a risk. They doesn't want to devote that time, why they want to work, we don't want them. There are some candidates who apply internships. BCC, they will put an 10, 20 architects' name they will put. We don't take such candidates. We look at the attitude and how that person is looking at the CV we do. It is done by one girl in my office who is Anjali is 2020 batch, 21. 20 or 21 batch, I don't know. She's working with us for more than 2 years. So she should be, I don't know. No, 20 batch, I think. 19. Anita is 19. So she's on it. So it's a very simple thing she does. It's not her job, but she does. She does the interviews and tells whether this candidate is good or this candidate have this problem. I have a feeling like this. We look for the right kind of attitude. We used to take very talented people, first rank holder, second rank holder, but we have stopped doing it. The first rank holder will come and might not do useful work. They want to take from us. They don't want to give back to us. So we're just trying to do it like that. You understand this? So we're just looking for the right kind of, any employer looks for people who can be trusted upon. So we look whether somebody can be trusted upon. If not there, we just tell them goodbye very easily without that. We won't tell it that way. No, we say that you are very talented, but we have decided. I'm very clear, my question is the senior people in the office should be very comfortable to work with that person. Somebody who gets this kind of thing. We check whether you get a panic attack, you have an anxiety problem. I'm a faculty, I told you, serious issues are with the students. They might be facing anxiety issues, panic attack. How much it disturbs the faculty. Because, there is a counselor in SEPT. Students go, they produce medical certificates. We look very clearly, whether somebody is truthful. If you're not able to come, you just tell you are not able to come. Don't tell that I have a stomach pain, I'm not able to come. It should be genuine. So when we find it out it's not correct, we want people to be truthful, sincere. They are the people who will become future leaders. Those who don't have that quality, might be talented, extremely talented. If some architect is extremely talented and he starts an office, his office will be there for 10 years. He will not be able to have a long-term sustaining office. It might be clearly, but it's not. Architecture is not just talent and design. It is to do with communication. You have to do public relations. You have to do human relationships, all these things matters quite a bit. So we are looking for these candidates. We check on these things. We monitor this. My team members monitor this and reports to me saying that this candidate, we check on how they react to a situation. I mean, of course, all these Infosys, they do psychological tests and this. We don't go to that extent. I mean, this time interview, we are involving a HR professional into this because we thought that that will benefit. There is a very senior HR professional she is joining the interview online. And we take her opinion also into account very clearly. So there are so many factors which we take into account. I mean, this is something which you have to write. When you write a letter, it's now you want, you go to computer and just chat GPT or PGT, whatever it is called, it will give you a resume. Give me a resume similar to Benny Kuriakose, it will give you. So we don't look at that, we look at various things. Skills, we are not bothered. We know skills can be taught within a week. You don't know 3D, we can teach you 3D in 1 week. We have people in our office who will teach you 3D. And if you have the attitude to learn, you will learn it in 1 week. You understand that? So that's what we look at. So this is what everybody looks at. Your career depends on the decisions you make. I've seen many talented youngsters making wrong decisions and not being successful in the career. Career success, there are certain things which is very, very important. So we look at these. This is what every company or every employer looks at. Infosys, when it recruits people, they will look at the same things. Ours is a small firm. We have 20-25 people. So our scale of operations is less. To have a HR department, etc. Many people ask me, why don't you have an HR department? I said, Anjali will handle it. Anjali is the one who handles the HR department and she handles it very well. So it looks at that. So we look at these things. We need good people. If I want to produce high quality work, I need high quality people. I cannot, with mediocre people, I will not be able to produce high quality work. The social media is entirely handled by some of the staff in my office. There are two, whatever do, every day the posting will be out. I don't have to look into it, what has to come, they will come and ask me, shall we do this posting, shall we do this posting, that's how it works, you understand that. So I need to do social media work, somebody has to take up. I need to do HR work in my office, my office doesn't have office, there are no telephone operators, there is no office boys, there are no managers, no accountants, no admin people, nothing, there are only engineers and architects. So if I want to run an office with that, with a creative mindset, so if you want to make tea, we have 2 tea sessions. Somebody has to go. There are 2, every day, two people is allotted jobs to make tea. I think except me and Tamil, everybody is part of it. Oh, Anjali doesn't make it. She also makes. Only Tamil and I don't get involved. So except the 2 senior people, everybody else has to make. So today is one duty of one person to make tea. Morning and afternoon session, same person makes it. So tomorrow it is on a rotation. So because office needs tea. It is not easy. Also the rule is that 15 minutes everybody should stop work. So everybody gathers together for tea. That is the time for socialization. So we have a kind of thing, and it's the teamwork which does. So if somebody is not part of the teamwork, we try to filter that person at the earliest. It's the teamwork which does. You understand that? What we are producing is because of the teamwork. And it's same thing. In football, if it is an Indian cricket team, will win World Cup when the team spirit is there. If the team spirit is not there, if Kohli is going in one direction and Rohit Sharma is going another direction, India will never win any test match. It's just simple. It's very simple. So our office also works on similar principles. very clearly. And they just, I can't go and check on everybody's performance, monitor everybody. I mean, we have people who will be checking it. We follow a flat hierarchy system. There is no senior architect, junior architect, nothing of that. Everybody does. Somebody who is senior might have to work under Priya, who is last year, pass out, depending on the project. Particular project, Priya will be knowing more than the others. And sometimes it will require that for deadline work, this project needs more input. So we don't work on a hierarchy. There is no seniority in junior. So we're trying to keep that creative part of the studio. So we don't run it like other offices, which I think is the main success of our office. I mean, if you can call it a success. I mean, if you look at the number of projects or the number of followers we have, I think to my knowledge, only one architect has more following than us in India on Instagram. We have a very high, I mean, in social media and everything. We have a huge website traffic. Website traffic to our website. So all these things up. So it just work based on that. We are looking at a long term. Now the office is working on AI. Because we know artificial intelligence, a lot of architects will lose jobs. So we are working out as a strategy as an office to counter the AI, this thing. You cannot fight AI when it comes 10 years later. You have to start fighting now. So that is the strategy. So various people come out with various ideas. How should we do it? How should we work it? But that fighting the AI has now helped us in getting more projects. That's the way we work. You understand? It's not very, very, very easy, but we don't want to let the creativity down. We will not be less creative or less innovative. I repeat to my team members, we don't want projects at the cost of creativity or innovation. You understand? That is where people make mistakes. A lot of people make mistakes in that. Many of the youngsters, that's the money. Once they become a little bit famous, they think that it is there. This is one decision I've taken. I'll be very simple and humble. I will never, because I see the arrogance of some of the architects and any professionals. I have decided I will never become arrogant, but at the same time I'm very strict with what I want to do. You understand? I don't have a problem. Sunday I'm in Trivandrum. I'm in about 150 masons and carpenters and painters who worked with me 30 years ago. We are joining together. In Venyaramud, a small town. The masons and carpenters there are organizing the event. I still don't want to forget the way I came from. These were the masons who worked with me 35 years ago. So we have a WhatsApp group. We meet once in a year and we do that. For them, I've grown up, but some of them are there, but we still meet. I take that meeting as a very important thing. I definitely attend that meeting. Attend such meetings I do, etc., which is very, very important. Should not be looking at the other way around alone. See, this is something which I've been telling for the last, can do plans, can do renders, can do right descriptions of the projects you have done. There was a poll held very recently in Europe. 3 architects, same brief given to 3 architects and AI, computer. And they did a poll on, they did not mention which one belongs to AI, which one belongs to which architect. 62 or 68% of the votes were won by AI produced design. Which means, unless you are on the top of the line, you will be wiped out. Just like Excel, which is a simple thing, how it wiped up the accountants or the tally software. No account, I mean, it's very simple now. Same thing is, there are a lot of things. There is another thing, AI is going to remove 14 million jobs in by 2025. 14 million jobs will be lost. I've just told my office that we have a content editor in our office. Who is in charge of writing. I said, switch over to Chat GPT. It's an architect who writes it. I said, switch over to Chat GPT. Then they are saying, the people saying, we can do it. But we have to work it out and then do. Because we have a personal touch in the way we write it. We don't want to lose it. So I just told that we should be able to get into Chat GPT or try to do it. So you don't know how things are going to change in the future. So you have to be very, very careful unless you are that aggressive. I tell all these people, they have 40 years of their career ahead. Priya is 22. 22, isn't it? She has 40 years of her career ahead. Can she become irrelevant in 10 years or 20 years? You understand? Can it be, is it possible? How can she get into something? So we have to do that in such a way that we should be able to fight or plan it for that. If we plan it, then we'll be able to do it. Because I am very sure that certain things the way architectural firms work will go. We were not into social media. This 1,20,000, 3 years ago, we were only less than 1,000 followers we had. We started in 2020. In 3 years, we just became the second biggest in terms of the number of followers, architectural firms. So this is where. So we have to be aggressive, we have to be doing it. Unless you do it, it will be out. How many small hospitals? All the hospitals are out now. Nobody goes to the local clinic or physician. Everybody wants to go to a specialist doctor. All these non-banking finances which is across Chennai city, every junction you can find a person who used to take gold and pledge gold and give, disappeared. You don't have it in when you are from Kerala, you don't see it. There were so many people who used to give gold and they are disappeared. Things are going to change unless you gear towards that, and those are the people who will be successful. It is not the talent, it is not this one which is important. It is the way you work, the strategies that you work is very important. So I tell the office very clearly that we have to plan out a strategy for this. I can remind every day, I tell them that I consider this 10 years, 20 years ahead when I plan our office strategy. We don't want to become obsolete in 5 years or 10 years. I know many architects, I don't want this B.V. Doshi. I met him in a conference, and now he got Frisker Prize. Before getting Frisker Prize, I met him in a conference, nobody is going to him. He is sitting in one corner. Everybody is after the new generation architects. And it happens with everybody. Now Mahesh, who was reigning #1 in Trivandrum city, he's a good friend of mine, he's more or less shut down his practice. He is around 70, 72. We talk sometimes. That's not something which I want to do at the age of 72. You understand that? I want to be at the top even at the age of 72 or 82. When Corbusier did Chandigarh, he was 70. IMP, he was when he did most of the projects, he was 80 plus. Frank Gehry is 80 plus. Why do Indian architects retire at the age of 50 or 60? Whereas most of the foreign architects get their name when they are 70 and 80. So this is what has to be. So you have to plan it. I mean, this is what is important. The AA is going to make changes in the architecture field. If it is generated. I mean, you can see some of the videos which AA, I mean, it will dramatically change. You don't require, you just give the requirements and AA produces a plan and render and section and estimating materials required. Then what do you want? Why should a client come to you? So be very careful. Unless you gear for it as youngsters, unless you plan it from day one, you will be out. You are youngsters. Be very, very plan it and build your career. This is the time to build because you are very young. Otherwise, you will be out. Look at any of the fields. This is, I mean, Kodak at one time was equivalent to photography. Not in the picture now. Nokia went out in 5 years, 10 years. There was a time when Nokia meant cell phone. Because they failed to get into Android technology. That is the mistake they made. Just failed to go into Android technology. They thought that since they have a huge market share, they will be able to survive in the market. It said that Kodak found the first digital camera in 1975. They did not give it because they thought that the film paper business will have to be shut down. They did not give that technology. But other companies came and Kodak was wiped out. Same thing. Be very clear. Architecture, the scenes are changing very, very fast. Unless you plan, it's very difficult to predict it. What is going to happen in 3 years or 5 years or 10 years? Architecture colleges doesn't have enough students. Isn't it? Design colleges have sprung up in large numbers. Engineering colleges, so architecture colleges have been shut. There is one architecture college in my native place in Kerala, it has been shut. Some pharmacy course they are running now, I have been told. So it's not easy, you know. It's not easy. You have to plan for this, and you are young age, you have to plan for your career, otherwise you will be out. Otherwise you will be just, when it's not easy, you will be getting. Knowledge is very important. You have knowledge, you have the right vision and right way to do, then you will always be, you will be able to adjust. What I am trying to do in our office is to adjust to the system. Because I know the way system which I used to follow is already becoming obsolete, is going to become obsolete in 5 years. The system which I used to follow all these years. So normally, if you look at many of the career, I look at my friends and many of the careers, that's already started nose diving, started going down. Very difficult. This is a highly competition field, you know. Gone are the days when you had contacts, you knew some people, you knew some builders, you will be able to survive. I'm doing a residence for a builder in Pune. He's one of the biggest, and he is telling me, he's asked me, he's called me to do his residence. So he picked me up from the airport, we were traveling to the site. He asked me whether I'm doing any builders projects. I said, I do some projects, a very limited number. And I asked him, whom do you give? He said, zero creativity in buildings. Cut and paste only we require. And he is one of the prominent builders in Pune city. So this is only cut and paste is required. He was talking about apartments. All these apartments, tower buildings comes. He said zero creativity, only cut and paste is required. So you can imagine what kind of fees these developers will pay the clients, pay the architects. Architects themselves will spoil this thing. So it's something which has to be looked at seriously, and that is what is required. So for you, it's the old way of getting somewhere and sitting somewhere will not work. Everybody used to get a job. Those days are gone. When you pass out, unless you are competent, unless you are good, you will not get a job. Google is dismissing 20,000 people. Facebook is sending 10,000 people, 20,000 people. How many people are losing jobs? There was one girl who is my client's daughter. She says, one day morning, 8 o'clock, she receives a mail. You are no longer an employee of this office at 8 a.m. And all access to all the things has been shut. You are requested to return the laptop. Everything is cut. She cannot even log into her official mail ID or any of those things. This is what happens. So we have to be very clear. So be practical and try to do. Don't think that the future is very bright. But future is bright for the right candidates. But things are going to change. Okay. I think it's
Sir, first of all, I'd like to thank you from all of us, Marian College of Architecture and Planning. Thank you so much for sparing your busy schedule and giving us so much time. And everything that you talked about today, we touched upon certain topics which are most burning issues and critical parameters which are actually going to be deciding factor for their future, whether it is relating entrepreneurship or whether you're talking about the evolving how you have to step up your game at every level. In fact, even your life stories, I am pretty sure would be very inspiring for them because, as you said, the times that we are living in, we are actually walking a tightrope and we can fall on either side of it. So I think even your story would definitely serve as an inspiration for most of them. And once again, really thank you for having us, and thank you from Marian College of Architecture and Planning. Thank you.